Yes, it's a new year and a whole nother year of talking about Smash Ultimate. And since I've been gone from YouTube for quite a bit, let's just talk about that for a second. Smash Ultimate? Fucking rules, right? Honestly, it's so much better than I expected it could possibly be. And, of course, as is the sequence when you play a game a lot, you think about what you could do to make it better. And, well, I've been thinking about Smash Ultimate characters, and since there's at least 4 left for DLC, I thought, why not throw my 2 cents into the ring of what I think these characters could possibly be. I know the idea for this is unoriginal, but we're gonna play it slightly differently than others are doing. See, the only 2 DLC characters we know of, Piranha Plant and Joker, don't have spirits in Smash. It's kinda obvious that Joker wouldn't have one, but it's pretty damning that Piranha Plant of all things doesn't, considering every other regular Mario enemy does have a spirit. So this has led me to the conclusion that none of the DLC characters are gonna have spirits that already exist in Super Smash Bros. Sorry, Geno fans. So this list is not going to feature any character that currently has a spirit in Super Smash Bros. It's possible some of these characters would get one later, whether it be like the weekly updates that they're currently doing, or via Fighter Spirit if they do make it as a DLC character, but as of right now, none of these characters have spirits. And we're also going to copy Watch Mojo a little bit by having the first 9 characters, followed by some honorable mentions, and then we'll do the last one. With all that being said, let's dive in. I've talked about this character time and time again, and weirdly enough, this is the one that keeps getting pushed farther and farther back in my actual video production schedule. However, I honestly still think that Steve from Minecraft might have one of the best chances to become a DLC character. While it's obvious to say I don't like Minecraft, a lot of people associate Minecraft with little babies, thus Minecraft should not have a character in Smash. However, you cannot deny the impact Minecraft has had over the gaming market. Think about it, so many games nowadays have that survival element to them, and I think that basically started in Minecraft. And if I'm completely honest, I still sink a lot of time into SMP servers. But sticking to Smash, Steve could have a very unique moveset, featuring items from the game. And yes, I plan to go into more detail on this one. That video is still in the works. I apologize it's taken this long. So this might be cheating the idea of a top 10, but these 2 characters get requested so much in almost tandem. So I'm going to put both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon on this spot in the list. Both of these characters are considered icons that helped shape the PlayStation. And looking at it, they quite honestly fit the bill for Smash characters quite nicely. I mean, both are iconic characters that have gotten major remakes in the past 2 years, and both lend themselves to tons of moveset potential. However, in the grand scheme of things, I also think that choosing these 2 characters would be playing it pretty safe. So, the PlayStation Boys lands in number 9 on my list. One of the franchises with the largest representation in Smash Bros. Is the Pokemon series, which is weird because a good half of the characters in Smash are from the first generation. And while the other ones are spaced out pretty nicely, there are 2 glaring omissions in the Pokemon characters, respectively from generations 3 and 5. And this is a travesty because Hoenn is my favorite region. So to fill in these gaping holes, I'm going to put Sceptile and Golurk. Sceptile would complete the trio of fully evolved starters completed by Greninja and Incineroar, and honestly has one of the cooler designs of Mega Evolutions. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, I really just like Golurk's design, and the fact that he can learn Fly despite having nothing on him that makes him look like he could. I mean, look at this guy, he's just absolutely massive. He would make a great fighter, and be very stylistically different from all the other Pokemon in Smash, and represent new types. One of the biggest games to come out of these past couple years of gaming has been relatively untouched in Smash. And while a lot of people think that mature games shouldn't be anywhere near Smash, they've already shattered that barrier with Bayonetta. So why not hit it hard and get one of the most mature games but also one of the most popular games of the last decade, and put in a Grand Theft Auto protagonist. One of the longest standing characters that I've always wanted in Smash Bros. But knew it was a pipe dream beyond all pipe dreams was of course CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Similarly to Snake, he could use a variety of different weaponry, both melee and long-range stuff and explosives. And while Snake has danced the line, we really haven't gotten a character that is a one-man army of modern weaponry. While of course keeping age ratings in mind, they'll have to tone down a lot of the more adult aspects of the series. I think that any GTA protagonist could fit the bill. I always pictured them doing something like the Koopalings if they ever went through with this idea. You could have CJ, Claude, Trevor, Michael, Franklin, and Nico all in one character. This is one of those I know it's very unlikely to happen, but wouldn't it be cool kind of scenarios. This one I've already talked to death, and I really don't have anything else to say about it, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I really want Sans in Smash Bros. Not because of the memes, or because I think Undertale was that good of a game. I just think that he could have some really unique fighting aspects to him. If you want to know what I mean, I made a video talking about a potential Sans moveset, and honestly, if he did get implemented, I'd only want it to be what I have planned out for him, as selfish as that sounds. I won't take up any more time talking about Sans, God knows I've done that enough, so I'll put the link in the description and you can talk about Sans there. Oh yes, another point that has been talked to death. A lot of people think Fire Emblem is bloating the market in Smash Bros. That is to say, we only have 4 what I would consider unique characters in the Fire Emblem roster, out of 7. Ike, Robin, Corrin, and Marth all have unique movesets. You could make the argument for Roy as well, but considering the fact that he's based off of Melee, in which he was just another clone of Marth, then it's a whole nother ordeal. And then you have Lucina and Chrom, who are both Echo Fighters of Marth and Roy respectively. What's one thing all these characters have in common? It's the sword. What if I told you that there's another game coming out in the Fire Emblem series that has a visually distinct character who uses a different weapon and could fill the same market that Corrin had as being an advertisable character in Smash Bros? Well, let me tell you, there is hope after all. Pointing to Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses. This game is not out yet, but Edelgard's inclusion could serve as a glorified advertisement for Fire Emblem Three Houses. Hell, she might not even get in as part of the fighter pack, but something outside like Piranha Plant. I'm a fan of the Fire Emblem games, and I really like Edelgard's design. Not to mention, she uses an axe. An axe, people. We've been begging for an axe character. Who needs Hector when you can get Edelgard? Obviously, this is one of my more baseless claims, but I just like her design enough to put her at a nice number 5 on this list. I talked earlier about Sakurai dancing the line of mature characters in Smash Bros. Well, what if we took the most mature game in existence? One that has caused riots in the streets. One in which you can tear off people's heads with heavy metal screaming at you in the background. That's right, I'm talking about the one and only Doom. Doom Guy has a legacy behind him, and that's why I put him at number 4. He's one of the first video game characters to really get a name for himself, even if it's not his name that people think of. Doom is a classic franchise, and while the protagonist may just be known as Doom Guy, he uses a variety of weaponry that could make for some awesome shit. And while they couldn't include some of the more classic sides of Doom in Smash, I do think a fast heavyweight with a variety of weaponry just sounds like Better Snake, and everyone loves Snake, so why not have Better Snake? All in all, Doom Guy would be pretty cool. Now think about the controversy of Doom and all the shit that did in the gaming world about how it was violent and like depicted gore, and multiply that times 10. Remember the ESRB, the reason that we have to worry about all Smash Bros stuff having ratings attached to it? Well, it was almost single-handedly caused by my next fighters, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Mortal Kombat, I would argue, is the last big fighting game series missing some form of representation in Smash. But who better to represent Mortal Kombat than the two who have been duking it out since the 90s? The Fire Master Scorpion and his possible Echo Fighter, Sub-Zero, or vice versa. I highly doubt they'll add one and not the other, but it's possible, looking at Injustices 1 and 2. One of the things that we always talk about when talking about Smash Bros. Characters is games' history and legacy, and Mortal Kombat kinda shaped the gaming world as we know it today with the ESRB. Well, by that logic you could also include a character from Night Trap, but I think Mortal Kombat characters lend themselves to Smash Bros. Better. But out of all the characters on this list, I think these two lead a bigger legacy than most of them, so they take my number 3 spot. I don't care whether or not you think it's impossible for Sora to get into Smash Bros. This fucker has earned it. These games are fantastic, and he's just such a cool character. It's so good. Give me Sora as a sword fighter, key fighter, and make him a floaty boy. It'd be awesome. Kingdom Hearts may not be this hallmark of RPGs that a lot of people seem to think it is, but it combines two of the most unlikely candidates for a crossover. And you know what else combines a lot of unlikely candidates in a crossover? Smash. But why not breach that gap and make it so that the degree of separation between Mario and Mickey Mouse is none? And sorry, this is the one I have that I don't have good reasoning for wanting to include. I just think he's cool. Alright, time for honorable mentions. I'm going to try to marathon through these as fast as possible. There are two characters who I think have been shafted by being made into spirits, but would make awesome characters as it is. So this is my way of trying to include the spirit of those characters, with not actually including those actual characters. To start off, Helix from ARMS. Out of all the ARMS characters, it's kinda obvious that Spring Man would be the obvious inclusion. But since he is deconfirmed in the form of a Cis trophy, and Ribbon Girl is a Mii fighter, and everyone's favorite girls in the game, Twintel and Min Min, are also deconfirmed via spirit, I think Helix is the next likely representative. He just has so much more of an identity compared to a lot of the other characters in ARMS. Speaking of identity, Wonder Pink from the Wonderful 101. She is interesting to say the least. But the Wonderful 101 characters would make a good character, and all the Wonders would play the same anyways. So yeah, give us Pink. With the spirit workarounds out of the way, Amaterasu from Okami. I have never played this game, but it looks really cool, and I think Amaterasu could be a unique fighter if implemented right. This is another one that I don't have too good reasoning for, I just like the character. Maxwell from Scribblenauts. Scribblenauts is a franchise a lot of people forget about, but I think it's honestly one of the better games for children. I know, because I played it as a child, and it made me think in ways that most games didn't. I can't make a Smash video without bringing up Cooking Mama. I like Cooking Mama. She's not exactly prime Smash candidate, but she's also just fun enough for people to want to happen, and she's kind of a meme, so Cooking Mama. And lastly, I have to bring up Banjo and Kazooie. Yes, these guys didn't make my #1 spot, but having played Banjo-Kazooie more recently than a lot of other people have, I think the game is honestly astounding, and since I played it with my modern gamer brain for the first time and it still holds up wonderfully, I think that a lot of other people could too. I really want this game to get a Spyro Reignited trilogy level of detail into a remake, because the old game holds up amazingly, just the visuals really don't. However, despite that, yes, I'm sorry to say that unfortunately Banjo and Kazooie aren't my most wanted Microsoft characters. In fact, Steve isn't my most wanted Microsoft character either. When you get into video games, you can't help but think about those games that shaped you to like certain things. For instance, when I was 2 or 3 was when I was first introduced to Smash Bros, and my favorite character in that game was Kirby. And because of that, later in my life, I bought a lot of Kirby games just because I liked the character in Smash Bros, and it started my love. Well, right around the time I was introduced to Smash Bros. Melee, and thus Kirby and all these other characters, I was also introduced to another game on a rival console. A game known as Halo. And I like to think that shaped a lot of my gaming love in general, because I played this game and thought it was wonderful. Me and my dad and my sisters would always play the multiplayer and just have so much fun. And while I can't imagine a lot of people would agree with this mentality, having Master Chief come to Smash Bros. Would make gaming as a whole come full circle for me. It would be the 2 video games I was first introduced to early in life finally meeting, and that would be a pretty special moment for me. And again, while a lot of other people can't quite feel this connection, I'm sure there's a decent amount of you who do, I just think that Master Chief would be a cool character overall, and all this other stuff on top of it just makes him my most wanted character in Smash Bros. Ultimate. And who knows, with Reggie saying that Joker is stuff we should expect, maybe we should expect something more crazy like that too. But to wrap things up, what characters did you like or hate or not want, or did I introduce you to new characters in this list? I did my best not to do characters that everyone else is putting in their most wanted characters videos, but a couple of those bled over. I can promise you that with the new year here, I'm going to start working on shaping Smash again. School hit me harder than I expected, so the process of those slowed down a lot. Steve will be done soon, and that a couple other characters on this list are also going to be getting videos from me. However, until then, I've been RVRocks, and of course, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me continue this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe, or tell me that I'm trash in the comments. I'm always willing to talk if you're willing to give me the time of day. But with all that being said, once again, I'm RVRocks, and see ya!